pleasant good evening from the city of Monrovia, Liberia. This is News Today on KMTV with me, Emmanuel Davis, presenting tonight's edition of our news. And we'd like to say many thanks for joining us from wherever you've joined our broadcast tonight. Stories making headlines. Vice President Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor re-echoes the need for concerted effort in eliminating violence against women and girls. Unacceptable and beyond pathetic. Action for Justice and Human Rights describes gender-based violence. Good news for Southeasterners as Public Works Minister assures the completion and dedication of Timber River Bridge on July 15. And away from this country tonight on our news presentation, local media report says Opposition Chief Lazarus Chakwera has been sworn in as Member of Parliament in Malawi. These plus many other developments are packaged in our tonight's presentation of News Today right here on KMTV. We take this break. When we come back, we go straight into the news. Please keep watching. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us tonight. Let's now bring you our first development. Vice President Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor has re-echoed the need for efforts to be exerted in eliminating all forms of violence against women and girls across Liberia, speaking at the launch of the Spotlight Initiative, organized and sponsored by the European Union and the United Nations in Teward District, Grand Cape Mount County today. Vice President Howard Taylor said adherence to such call will secure the lives of women and girls. The Spotlight Initiative is a 4-year UN and EU global program which focuses on eliminating all forms of violence perpetrated against Liberian women, which is expected to be executed in 5 counties.
I want to extend the thanks and appreciation of our government and our president, on the one hand, for including Liberia in this Spotlight Initiative, but on the other hand, to recognize that we are still at a very low point. For Liberia to have been chosen means that we have much more to do. Other countries that might not have been chosen maybe have higher numbers, but the fact that we were chosen, we're happy. But Madam Minister of Gender and all of the relevant ministries and agencies involved, Liberia has a lot to do. I would just like to again say thank you to the UN and to the EU for providing funding for Liberia to eliminate once and for all aspects of sexual and gender-based violence in our country, and to all of the UN agencies that will be involved in this process. We hope that at the end, attitudes, customs, laws will be changed for the betterment of our country. It is therefore my singular honor to, on behalf of my president, His Excellency Dr. George Manewia, to launch the Liberia Spotlight Initiative, which includes ministries of our government, civil society organizations, the international community, and civilians across 5 counties.
Meanwhile, Gender Minister Willemita Piso Sedita has outlined challenges that need keen attention if the Spotlight Initiative must come to fruition. According to her, negative mindset, harmful traditional practices, amongst others, are areas the ministry will look at in employing the goals of the program. Here now is the Gender Minister speaking in Tiwa District today.
Challenges such as limited capacity and resources, legal and procedural gaps, change in societal norms and practices, capacity of judiciary and legislators, technical expertise and coordination between the different stakeholders will be some of the support that the Liberian Spotlight Initiative will provide. I want to extend my appreciation to the government of Sweden and the United Nations, who are currently implementing the Joint Sexual Gender-Based Violence Program. This program has been instrumental in forming the design of this Spotlight Initiative that is being launched today. I want to also extend my appreciation to the European Union for selecting Liberia as one of the 8 countries in Africa for the 4-year Spotlight Initiative, which will be implemented in 5 counties, including your own county that we're seated in today, which is one of the reasons why we chose Grand Cape Mar County. We're also going to be working in Montserrat County, Nimba County, Lofa County, and Grand Juda counties are represented by the traditional leaders here and superintendents today. And we are also going to be implementing at the government level by the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Information, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Defense. As you can see, we are putting serious time into this because we are serious as a government to ensure that by the time we reach the years that we want to attain our goals, we are able to do that. And we will be working hand in hand with other local and international partners, especially, like I said earlier, with our community-based organization, our CSO, and women NGOs around the country.
Action for Justice and Human Rights has alarmed over the increase of violence against women and children in Liberia. The advocacy group says at least 513 cases of rape were reported during the period January to March 2019, with the arrest of just few of the alleged perpetrators. Speaking at a news conference in Monrovia today, Action for Justice and Human Rights head Sata Sharif classified the ugly act mainly carried out by Liberian men as unacceptable and beyond pathetic.
Action for Justice and Human Rights, ASH for short, is deeply concerned about the increase in sexual violence cases in Liberia. The number of rape cases over the months have significantly increased, with almost 90% of the victims being children. Again, Action for Justice and Human Rights, ASH for short, is deeply concerned about the increase in sexual violence cases in Liberia. The number of rape cases over the months have significantly increased, with almost 90% of the victims being children. It is disheartening to note that 803 SGBV cases were reported from a single quarter, January to March 2019. In that report, rape alone constituted 513 cases. Frustratingly, only 216 perpetrators were arrested among the hundreds of perpetrators. Today, we have over 578 perpetrators still on the run. Join the conversation. Discourage actions and beliefs that justify sexual violence at all levels in Liberia. We hope that we can all work together to bring sexual abuse perpetrators to justice.
From human rights activities now, let's go straight to the headquarters of the National Elections Commission, where that government institution has made what it calls technical adjustment in the pending by-elections in Montserrat County. The adjustment now changes the previous election date from July 2 to the 8th. This, according to the NEC, is due to the provision of pre-packed election materials. NEC Chairman is Councillor Jerome Kokuya.
The government of Liberia fully committed itself to form the by-elections, and in partial fulfillment of that commitment, As of Monday, June 17, 2019, the government has deposited an amount of 900,000 United States dollars and 114 million Liberian dollars, the net of gain equivalent of 600,000 American dollar converted at the rate of $194 per $1 American dollar into the accounts of the National Election Commission. In consequence of the timeline released for the conduct of the Colorado County Representative elections, we informed you earlier that contingent upon prevailing circumstances, the calendar could be subject to adjustment. In that regard, the Commission wishes to announce that a constitutionally mandated time frame of 90 days remains on course. However, there will be some technical adjustment within the timeline to account for the development beyond the Commission control. One such development is the availability of the pre-packed materials. A key component for the conduct of the by-election is the timely provision of the pre-packed election material that must be used by all poll workers for the successful conduct of the elections. Keeping with this timeline, I'm pleased to inform you, members of the press, political parties, and all stakeholders that accreditation of party agents, local and international observers, and the media is ongoing and ends on June 25, 2019. In view of the very tight timeline, the provision of funds by the GOL and the commitment from the vendor to ensure that the pre-packed election materials are in the country before or on June 30, 2019, the Board of Commissioners of the Commission wishes to inform all political parties, candidates, registered voters, and the public in general that the by-elections will now be conducted on Monday, July 8, 2019.
The NEC boss has meanwhile threatened to prosecute or take action against people who will violate the election laws during the campaign period and, of course, during the time of election.
Even though the Commission has not received any formal complaints of campaign violence or acts of vandalism, we urge all candidates and their supporters to refrain from any act of violence during this campaign period. The NEC hereby cautions all political parties and their supporters to conduct their political activities in a peaceful manner within the confines of the Constitution, the electoral laws, regulations, and guidelines, and with decency to ensure that the political campaign period ends peacefully on the 7th of July 2019. In this regard, the Commission informs all political parties, independent candidates, and their supporters that the Commission would not hesitate to take action in keeping with the election laws of Liberia, election guidelines and regulations to punish any political party, independent candidates, and supporters engaging in acts of violence during this political campaign period.
Well, viewers, if you just joined us tonight, this is a reminder that you are watching News Today on KMTV with me, Emmanuel Davis, presenting this edition of our news. Stories still ahead of us and many more good news for Southeasterners as Public Works Minister assures the completion and dedication of Timber River Bridge on July 15. We now take this break. When we come back, we'll bring you more news right here on this platform. Please be with us. It's great that you rejoin us tonight on News Today right here on KMTV. We bring you more developments. Public Works Minister Mabutu Vla Yimpa has disclosed that rehabilitation works are currently ongoing on three major bridges between Grand Bassa and Sino counties, making specific reference to the collapsed Timbo River Bridge, which forms the boundaries. That's the boundary between Sestos and Buchanan City in Grand Bassa, Minister Yimpan said the government is working to meet its target before the climax of the rainy season. He put the cost of the three projects at over $3 million United States dollars. The Public Works Minister made the statement when he honored a communication from the Senate requesting him to address issues arising from the people of that region.
And this came about after the assessment of three major breaches between Buchanan and Greenville: the Timber River Bridge, the Cestus River Bridge, and the Sampan Bridge. These three breaches were assessed by the Ministry of Public Works in 2017, and a contractual agreement was entered into between the government of Liberia and Jupiter for the rehabilitation of the approaches to the breaches and for the replacement of these breaches. The contract was signed on February 28, 2017 with the government of Liberia. The duration of the project then was 12 months. And the contract called for the design, manufacture, supply, and installation of three bailey bridges at Timbo, Cestus, and the Sampan River. The total cost of this project is $3,245,609.
Minister Yimpan has meanwhile assured senators that the Timber River construction project will be completed and commissioned on July 15 this year. He also mentioned monies paid to Jupiter Construction International, the company contracted by the government of Liberia for the construction project.
On May 31, 2017, $900,000 was paid to the contractor, and this was done under the former administration. Under this administration, on April 19, 2018, $500,000 was paid to the contractor. And a few months ago, in March, specifically on March 8, 2019, $279,139 also paid to the contractor. Meaning, therefore, that the total amount paid by the government of Liberia, whether the previous government or this government, amounts to $1,679,139. And so, consistent with the terms of the contract, the Timber River Bailey Bridge has been imported in country, and works are fast progressing at Timber Bridge. The Cestus River Bailey Bridge is not yet in country, as well as the Sampan River Bailey Bridge. The project started initially on April 15, 2018. Works were suspended due to rains on June 13, 2018. As per our schedule, the Timber River Bridge, that is the Bailey Bridge, is expected to be fully launched and commissioned on July 15, 2019.
The head of United Youth for Peace and Accountability has accused the Monrovia City Corporation, that's the MCC, of instructing businesses in several communities not to pay their required garbage collection fees to service providers, but the MCC. Timothy Kpe told a news conference Tuesday that the alleged action of the city government runs contrary to the pro-poor agenda, stating that it is a contributing factor to the stockpiles of garbage in Monrovia and its environs.
After our assessment engagement with state actors in the sector, we realized that the city corporation has instructed all businesses in district number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10 in Mosorado County not to pay their required fees to those service providers, but rather pay only to the city corporation of Monrovia. We also established that MCC is now going to do the collection of garbage, directly collect garbage, which means they are now going to be the service provider. So they are deprived all businesses, Liberians own businesses that are doing business in the solid waste management sector, not to collect any fees from those businesses and individuals. Those guys who are only fee collecting no debts from the companies and private individuals, MCC is now arresting them, putting them out of business totally. Through our assessment, we noticed that the garbage, the huge part of debt, is all over the cities, and that is causing serious hazard to the health sector.
Well, the Monrovia City Corporation is yet to respond to the allegation brought against it by Timothy Kwe and team. Away from Liberia now, local media in Malawi has reported on Monday that opposition chief Lazarus Chakwera has been sworn in as member of parliament following the May 21 elections. The 64-year-old who leads the Malawi Congress Party, that's the MCP, was sworn in along with over 60 others at the Parliament building. Well, with that foreign development coming from Malawi, our African brothers and sisters, this is how we like to take leave of you tonight on this news presentation. But before going, a recap of the headlines. Vice President Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor re-echoes the need for concerted effort in eliminating violence against women and children. Unacceptable and beyond pathetic, Action for Justice and Human Rights describes gender-based violence. Good news for Southeasterners as Public Works Minister assures the completion and dedication of the Timbo River Bridge on July 15. And away from this country tonight on our news presentation, local media report says opposition chief Lazarus Chakwera has been sworn in as a member of parliament in Malawi. Well, many thanks for joining us tonight on our news program. Better still, you can join us tomorrow for more news and information right here on this platform, KMTV. My name is Emmanuel Davis on behalf of the entire production team and the News and Current Affairs Department of KMTV. Do have a great and a wonderful night from all of us here at this institution.